Hey y'all, so today I am taking this wig that I made for a client about maybe 3-4 years ago, and I am replacing the closure. I know from here it looks really good, but the closure is actually balding in the front, so I'm going to go ahead and pin it down. I measured this out to make sure it fits perfectly, pinned it down really good, because once you do this you want to make sure that it doesn't move. Then I take my clippers and I gently cut the hair off the lace, gently. Okay, I know it seems like I'm rushing, but that's because the video is sped up. But you want to do this part gently so that you don't accidentally tear a hole in the lace and then widen it out or anything. So you want this to be as taut as possible. You may have to go in different directions just to make sure that you get it down. It's not the end of the world if you have a few long pieces, but it just makes your life easier the flatter you have it. So once you have most of the hair off, you're going to place the new closure right on top and pin it down. And then you're just going to sew. So this is, I do want to share this with you. Whenever you're adding a new closure on top of an old one, you want to make sure that you are attaching it to that top track from the bottom, not from the top. This is very important because if you don't do it this way, it's going to be a little wobbly. And you want to make sure that your stitches have a very minimal gap in between, because once again you're going over something that was already there. So this will keep you from, when you cut the old lace off, this will keep you from having it move or shift or anything like that. So you can see how I'm stitching relatively close together. Now you don't want it to be too close where you can't cut the other piece off, but you want to make sure you do that. And you're going to sew all the way to the end. You're actually going to pass up the end and then come backwards. I also left off a very important piece. Start in the middle, the back middle of your closure, and go one direction first. When you're done with that, then you'll start in the back middle with a new piece of thread. You'll kind of overlap what you've already done just a little bit, and then you'll go the opposite direction. This is how I make sure that my closure fits perfectly. When you try to go from one side to the other, it kind of shifts sometimes, and then your closure is not always aligned. And since this wig is already pre-cut, because it's old, I don't want to waste my time having to go back and fix anything. So just basically middle to the right, and then go back a little bit, and then middle to the left. Or you can do left, right, doesn't really matter, but just do it half and half. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but when I'm going through, I am going through the loose thread, like the loop. And so then when I pull it, it makes it more secure. So I'm not just going, I'm actually going through the loop. So I don't know if y'all can see that, but I actually go through the loop so that way I can make sure that it is secured as tight and neat as possible. And it's inevitable that you catch a few little strands of hair. Just make sure that you pull them out as you go, and just try to remove them from the thread so that you don't have any tangling or bulkiness issues later on. And then, as I said earlier, you can see that I'm going to continue to sew past the edge of the wig, and then I'm going to kind of come back a little bit, and then I'll secure the thread, and I'll use my second needle to do the other side, because remember, I was saying earlier, I only do one half at a time. So when I'm done, I take all of the pins out. You're going to make sure that you're gentle with it because you don't want to tear or rip anything at this point. And then I flip it over. I use my hand to separate because I do not want to work this hard to tear up a new closure. I actually cut pretty far away the first go round, and then I come in and I clean up and get closer and closer to cut off as much as possible. And then throw that old lace away. You don't need it anymore, so get rid of it or use it for practice if you want to add hair to it. So this is what it looks like in the end. This is it just slapped on my client's head, just thrown on there just so you can kind of see. It looks just like the original. I colored it off camera to make sure that it matched the other hair, and then that was it, y'all. So thank you for watching. Please make sure that you comment below any questions you may have. This is the wig later on from the back. You can kind of see how it blends seamlessly. You can't even tell that that's an old wig. But thank y'all. See y'all later. Bye.